Race 2 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup at the 1992 Winter Olympic track at Plagne in France. After the first of the two heats, 22-year-old German driver Adam Amor and his 30-year-old brother Isam were in 9th position, 62 hundredths off the lead. Only their third race together, they were challenging the very fastest starters, and a scintillating second drive by Adam would put them right in contention to move up the tightly packed top 10. They were in a tie with Patrick Baumgartner of Italy after the first heat for 9th position, but 4 sleds in front of them looked like vulnerable targets. And so it was to prove. The brothers were still in the leader's box as we got to the top 4 sleds. Francesco Friedrich won here in Europe Cup in 2012, won in World Cup in 2015 and in 2020. He is the man to beat in Plagne, but he was not even in the medals after the first heat, 26 hundredths off the lead. He had a handy advantage though over the Amor brothers, and with Torsten Margis on the back of the sled for the first time here in Plagne, a good start and a good drive from Friedrich gave them a shot at the medals. A German 1-2 with 3 sleds remaining. In third place after the first heat, remarkably, Frankie Del Duca. The American starting only his 6th two-man race. With the speed of Hakim Abdul Sabur behind him, he'd been just 14 hundredths off the lead after the first trip down the mountain. But he couldn't match that in the second drive. He slipped behind Francesco Friedrich from the start, and thereafter it was tough work to try and keep the German in sight. Nevertheless, a great second run kept him in second position. With just 2 more sleds to go, the hope of a medal remained. After the first of the 2 heats, the top 2 sleds were separated by just 3 hundredths of a second. Absolutely nothing. Mickey Vogt and Sandra Mickel of Switzerland knew they had a chance. First, they'd have to improve their start, which they did, and then Vogt would have to drive up a storm, which he also did, leaving Friedrich trailing increasingly distant in the rear-view mirrors. Vogt was absolutely in top form on the track, where he claimed his first ever World Cup medal, a bronze, back in 2015. He would do better than that as he took the lead with just 1 sled to go, guaranteed at least a silver. The first heat leaders were world champions Johannes Lochner and Georg Fleischauer, but disaster struck at the start. Hansi didn't have his hands on the D-rings as they loaded into the sled. It kicked sideways and hit the wall, and from there on he was bleeding speed all the way down the track. They have raced together 7 times, they have won together 7 times in the two-man, but this is the end of the streak. Nevertheless, he had plenty of speed on hand, recovered well from that unfortunate starting error to end up with the silver medal as Vogt and Mickel took a historic first win in the two-man in the World Cup. The Plagne weekend continues to produce first-time winners with the two-man bobsleigh.
Let's go, Andy.
Lochner retains a slender World Cup points lead, but at the scene of their first ever medal together, no doubting how delighted our winners were.